For today, in the name of freedom, we take the battle to them.
Ladies and gentlemen, the season finale of Daredevil Born Again Season 1 has finally come, and holy shit, that was the best episode so far. I don't know why I'm saying so far. It was the best episode. It was amazing. It was so good. And unlike all the other reviews I've done for the previous episodes, where it was like, a few hours after I watched the episode, here I just finished it maybe 20 seconds ago. Oh my god, so this is my immediate fresh reaction to it, and my god, what an episode. What an episode. What a season finale. You know, my biggest issue though is that it's 9 episodes. My OCD is killing me, dude. Why couldn't you have done one more? But oh my god, we have got to talk about this, cause holy shit, this was badass. First off, just everything to do with Kingpin and Matt. I quite like that they didn't meet this episode, because I remember it was like half an hour ago. I was about halfway through the episode and I was like, I'm surprised they haven't met yet, but, had an interaction this episode, especially after what happened at the end of episode 8. But I'm actually quite happy because it just made everything flow better, in my opinion, because you had the Kingpin side of things and then the Daredevil side of things. You sort of keep it separate for this episode, and I loved that. And I think that I should probably talk about Kingpin first, because holy crap, the Daredevil side of things, that was a lot more. But Kingpin, this felt like Netflix Kingpin here. That scene with him and Sheila, alone, well, not alone, but it's just them in that mayor's office, just felt like Netflix Daredevil to me. That scene was terrifying because you had that sense of unpredictability where you don't know what the hell this dude's gonna do. You know damn well that he is not beyond just murdering her right there and then. And I think that's what made it so scary. Kingpin is a scary villain, and I wish that Hawkeye and Echo had, emphasized that. Is that this is a freaking terrifying dude. Okay, screw the Green Goblin, screw all the horror villains. Kingpin is the definition of terrifying because he is such a realistic character. But yeah, because, you have him telling Sheila, basically, just get everyone who's not 100% on board with me, and just keep their names down. And that was just freaking terrifying, and that was great. And then Sheila obviously had the conversation with Commissioner Gallo, which, let's be honest, none of us expected him to live, especially whenever a character says, tomorrow I'm hopping on a plane to go to this place. You know they're dead. You know that they're dead, especially in this situation. And that led to probably a lot of people unintentionally being racist, myself included, because when Gallo got in the car and we saw a black man named Luke. I haven't seen Luke Cage, but I know what he looks like. And I just saw that and I was like, oh my god, is that him? There's no way that's him, because I haven't watched the show, so I'm not 100% sure. But given that he's on the Anti-Vigilante Task Force, I doubt that it was him. But yeah, I was like, oh my god, I'm so racist. But then I went on Twitter and I just looked, probably the wrong place to look, to be fair. But I just typed in Luke Cage and I just saw all these other people being like, I actually thought this was Luke Cage. And they 100% did that on purpose. They were like, yeah, let's just get them to think it's them. It's him. So yeah, I don't feel as bad, but to the creators, screw you guys, man, because y'all knew exactly what y'all were doing. Y'all were setting us up for failure, man. And then leading off from that, that led to the whole, let's call it conjugation with the, not with the task force, some of the task force, and Gallo and Kingpin. And I mean, come on, man. If you're Gallo and you're seeing this area surrounded by top, you're like, okay, right, like, we're fucked. Like, I'm dead. Which, oh my god, that was ridiculous. That was a Terrifier level kill. Because Kingpin was beginning to crush his skull, and I was like, there's no way they're gonna make Kingpin that strong. I know he's strong, but really? He's gonna crush his skull? Nope. He ripped his face apart. Oh my fucking god. Because the exact same thing happened in Terrifier. Well, similar in Terrifier 3. Vicky and Art's body just ripped Chris Jericho's jaw to pieces. That was ridiculous. I was not expecting a kill like that in a Marvel project. You know, of course, in Deadpool and Wolverine, we had a lot of violence. Even Daredevil Born Again, we had a fair amount of blood and broken bones and stuff. But that was the most unbelievable kill that we've seen in a while. I don't know if it tops the car door. I think the car door is still, just because it's so iconic. You know, that was just brilliant. That was like the best kill we've ever seen in Marvel, in my opinion. But wow. And, you know, honestly, I didn't actually take a good look at it. I was more so just shocked about the fact that they did that. But I'm hoping that was practical. I'm really hoping that it wasn't CGI. I know saying I'm hoping it's not CGI with a Marvel project is like saying I hope it rains unicorns tomorrow. But still, I really hope that shot of just his body, obviously Kingpin, like the act of Kingpin ripping his skin off, obviously that had to be CGI, I'm sure. But like at least the shot of the body, that would have been cool if that was practical. I genuinely cannot believe that this actually showed up. I just finished filming the video. And it looks like, yes, they did actually create a prop for the Commissioner Gallo. I'm so happy Marvel did something practically. Yes! I'm so happy about this, honestly. If there's anything I've learned from horror movies, is that if you are going to have a gruesome kill, do it practically. CGI does not work. And this, oh man, I'm so happy. The face of that guy on the left, he was like, oh my god, there's no way this is Marvel. But yeah, that was awesome. And that again felt like Netflix Kingpin. And then something else which I was quite surprised that we never got to elaborate on, as far as the Kingpin side of things goes, is Bullseye. Because, I mean, the episode opens with Vanessa talking to Bullseye, fucking hell, Bullseye, saying like, okay, this is gonna shed light on this, and this. We need you to kill this guy and Foggy. And I'm glad that Dex acknowledged. He was like, oh yeah, I remember him. Because, you know, of course, those two did have, they did meet in season 3. But apart from that, he didn't do anything in the episode. And I found that quite surprising. And, you know, I know it's been 3 years since I last saw season 3. But one thing that I just can't get out of my head, and this is where I'm going to need you to explain something to me, please, is why do they keep trying to make Poindexter seem like a sympathetic character? I don't know if it's meant to be that way or if it's meant to be like, oh yeah, please, this isn't sympathetic. I don't know what it's meant to be, because they've established this dude is a psychopath. I mean, sure, in season 3 he started off somewhat normal, but we saw that even as a kid, he was psychotic. He wasn't, you know, right in the head. So I don't really know what we're meant to think here. Because every time they try doing that, I'm like, okay, don't try and make this a sympathetic character. He's not. He's just a freaking monster. And, you know, the vendetta he has with Kingpin is that obviously, why is the sun out? It's been pouring rain all day. Why is the sun out? Shit. Anyway, yeah. So, because of course in season 3, Kingpin had the girl that he was stalking killed. So, is that really meant to motivate us to sympathize with him? I don't think so. But anyway, Now we move on to the actually exciting stuff, and that is to do with Daredevil and the fucking Punisher! Bro, when Matt went to his apartment and he was like, "You're the last person I expected here," I genuinely thought that it was gonna be Bullseye. But no, it was Frank. It was Frank. And oh my god, that was such a great interaction. I love these two. I just love them so much. And Frank, it's just cool seeing him be the Punisher once again, because of course, in like episode 4, whenever it was, I think it was episode 4, when he showed up, that was that was Frank. That was Frank Castle, being of course sympathetic and trying to think of the word, but giving some tough love, shall I say? But that was Frank. This is the Punisher. This is the fucking Punisher, dude. And just seeing him do his thing here was amazing. And of course, we got to speak about that sequence. That sequence of them taking down some of the task force. I'm going to be honest with you. I thought that Frank was going to do it by himself and take down every single member of the task force. I'll be honest with you. That is genuinely what I thought was going to happen. But there was that. You got some fantastic sequences here. Although, of course, because the freaking lights were out, it was so freaking dark. So I think Frank decapitated a guy. I think because he kept stabbing and stabbing and stabbing, and I just saw this giant puddle of blood go across the screen. So I think he decapitated a guy, and that was awesome because there was that. You had so many scenes of Frank just killing people and Matt being like, "God damn it, you're always a liability all the time. Frank, don't do that." It's funny, but it's so good as well because even now, after season 2, which I can't actually remember when season 2 came out, but anyway, even after season 2, all the way till now, we still have this debate between the characters, and I love that so much. If I'm sounding very loud and energetic this episode, it's because I'm alone in the house, so I don't have to monitor the volume. And I'm really excited, honestly. I'm just happy. I'm so happy with this finale because it felt like an actual finale. This felt like a show. And actually, I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay, I'll say that for the end. But that is not the only fight scene with Frank that you get, which thank God, because you do get a scene later on in the episode where he does go to, I believe it was called Red Hook, although I could be completely wrong. And there you get another cool fight scene of him like axing people in the face and taking on like 3-4 guys at a time. Pause. But I mean, unfortunately, there he does get taken down and kept prisoner. But going back to the first fight, when they jump out the building, which, by the way, I can't believe Frank survived that. That, I'll be honest with you, that kind of confused me, that jump, because Matt and Frank jumped out of the building, right? I know Daredevil is agile. I know that he is, somewhat superhuman. But I mean, physically he's not. But anyway, how did he and Frank land on a car that was on the other side of the road? And it's not like it was directly across the building. It was a good few meters away from the building. So I don't know how that happened, but anyway, I'm just gonna have to suspend my disbelief there, which for Daredevil, I will happily suspend my disbelief because I love Daredevil and I love Punisher, and seeing both of them just walk on the road together, holy crap, I got literal goosebumps. And then of course, Karen returns, and Karen, I have actually missed the scenes of her and Matt together were just, oh god, it was so heartfelt. It felt like Netflix Daredevil. And I know I keep saying Netflix Daredevil, but you gotta admit, there was a big difference between the two. Between most of this show, which obviously was the original idea for the show, and then Netflix Daredevil. And this, you can tell that the creators knew what they were doing here, because just everything about this episode was perfect. I loved it. Okay, I wouldn't say perfect, but it was great. It was amazing. So, yeah, man, that everything to do with the Punisher and Daredevil together was just so good. And one thing I am happy about is that they did finally reveal who killed White Tiger. They revealed who killed Hector. And I'm going to be honest with you, it still doesn't make any sense to me because realistically, if you are all. Okay, it was like a lose-lose situation in my opinion because if it was. Okay, sorry. If it wasn't a part of someone on the task force, it would be odd because that would just completely go against what the episode was setting up, which is the police obviously having like targeting Hector because of course inevitably that was going to happen was a police officer was going to go up against Hector. But if it was someone who was on the task force, it doesn't make sense as to why they would hide it because in like episode 4 whenever it was, Officer Powell, who is a part of the task force, was being honest when he said that he didn't know anything about what happened to Hector. And I'm like, if you're a part of the task force, no matter who you are, and you kill Hector, you're not going to keep that a secret from anyone. So yeah, I don't really know why this guy didn't do it. I actually forgot his name, but I don't know why he didn't tell anyone that he killed Hector. I guess there wasn't really any need to because the cops and everyone else was like, okay, well, obviously Hector is going to die. He may be free, but obviously he's going to die. So I guess there's not really any need to question who killed him. We just know that it was likely someone on the force. So I guess now that I'm saying it out loud, I can kind of forgive it. So yeah, I'm also kind of annoyed that Frank didn't kill him because I know Daredevil was like, no, he's not worth it. He's not worth it, Frank. Don't do it. But I still feel like Frank should have just fucking smoked him. Like, come on. And what I liked is that Daredevil was like, he's not worth it. Like when he's talking to himself, he's saying, you're not worth it. You're not worth it because there was like one other time where Matt was very close to killing someone, but he was like, you don't get to destroy who I am. That was obviously Kingpin. That was his biggest enemy. And if you can let your biggest enemy live because you don't want them to destroy who you are, there is no reason to kill this pathetic piece of flesh, like just an insignificant person. So yeah, that made sense. That made complete sense. I was just really, really happy with that whole thing. And yeah, then we get to the last bit because they were because like the middle part of the episode is kind of just Karen and Matt figuring out what Foggy was doing. And by the way, I'm so happy that they did not reveal that Foggy is alive because if they make it that Foggy is alive, I will be pissed off to no end because even though I hate that they killed him in in episode 1, not because it was sad, just because it was a fucking stupid ass decision. Like how Nick says, but given that is a stupid ass decision, I'll choose to ignore it. That was a dumb decision. I don't want them to bring him back because he got shot in the freaking heart. He should not be alive. He died there. Don't bring him back. You fucked his death up already, Marvel. Don't do this. So yeah. That would have just pissed me off if Foggy was alive. But there was this whole thing that, Foggy sort of dipped his toe into something that he didn't fully understand. And that was that Fisks, for God's sake, the Fisks will be using Red Hook to launder money for illegal gambling and stuff. Well, it won't be illegal anymore. And that's really the catch there, is that this place, they can basically just do whatever they want. And it is legal. So that's cool. That's chill. I think we can go live there. But then we move on to when they were so close to providing Frank with maybe a slither of hope of escaping. And that's when they were right there by Red Hook. And Matt says a very important line where he says, we're going to need an army. And immediately, I haven't seen any of the Netflix things, even The Punisher, except for Daredevil. Obviously, Daredevil's the only thing I've seen. So you can imagine how confused I was during season 3 when Matt is just injured for no reason. But yeah, there was that. And of course, I haven't seen The Defenders or anything like that. But as soon as he said we're going to need an army, and I thought that I saw Luke Cage early in the episode. I was like, okay, are you really gonna like get the Defenders back together? That is insane. But no, it's just he just shows up in Josie's and has this pathetic group of cops and Cherry, who is just such a fucking stupid ass character. That's his army, I guess. Sure, like that. I don't know. I don't know about that. Also, them not mentioning Spider-Man, I feel is still extremely dumb. I think that's a huge negative on the show, which really, it's not the show's fault. It's Sony because Spider-Man can't show up here, but you can. I don't know if they can mention him by name, but at least have him be acknowledged. What is wrong with that? I'd also just like to add that they completely lied with this. They said there was going to be an MCU hero who shows up here. And I swear, if they were talking about the swordsman for that like 2-second scene, I'm going to go and punch someone at Marvel. Because, man, I'm going to freaking lose my mind with that. But, yeah, I genuinely thought they were going to reassemble the Defenders. And I'm kind of glad they didn't, because as someone who didn't watch the Defenders, I'm really happy because I haven't done my homework yet. But there was that, and that's sort of where the main episode ended, is Matt, which, by the way, that shot was amazing. Matt is standing in Josie's and they're taking down the newspapers, and Matt is just smack bang in the middle of it. Beautiful directing. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. There was that, and of course, you had the red light coming onto him, and Fisk is down where Adam used to be, in front of the painting from season 3, which, by the way, please, Marvel, stop showing things from the last episodes of shows or from the third acts of movies in your fucking trailers. Because that shot of them clinking, cheersing, fucking hell, clinking their champagne glass in front of the painting, that's from the trailer. Will you stop showing things like that in the fucking trailers? I understand it's sort of an insignificant scene, but it doesn't matter. It does not matter at all. Why do you have to show shit like that in the trailer? It's useless. But anyway, moving on from that, that is where the main episode ended. Is Matt sort of giving this monologue of like, he owns the city, but we'll take it back. Together we can beat him. And, with this shitty army, I really don't know what you're going to do. But yeah, there was that. Then there was a post-credit scene. But before I talk about that, there was something I completely forgot to mention, and it was at the beginning of the freaking episode, and that is that Fisk is such a goddamn prick that he was going to have Matt Murdock killed. He was going to kill him. When that episode ended, so the last one, we were all like, okay, this complicates things, because now, maybe Fisk will let Matt be Daredevil. Maybe he'll stop this whole thing. Or, maybe just give him a little bit of leeway. Maybe not fully allow him to be Daredevil, but just give him a little bit of leeway. Nope. Quite the opposite, in fact. Actually, I think Kingpin said the exact same thing. Quite the opposite. Yeah, a dead hero is better than a living vigilante. Holy shit, Kingpin. You are ruthless. But again, I love that because it's just making Kingpin a bigger villain, which really, you could straight up just take Netflix Kingpin, make him, I was going to say make him mayor, and then there's your villain, but that's exactly what they did. But anyway, that is a street level Thanos. Kingpin is street level Thanos, and I love that. And you had that whole thing of him sending Buck to kill Matt. That was insane. Insane. I could not believe that he was going to have Matt killed after that. But anyway, there was that, and now we move on to the post-credit scene, which I was genuinely surprised that none of the episodes had post-credit scenes, but this, I was like, it's the last episode of the season. They have got to have one. And lo and behold, there was one, with who I thought was going to be Dex. I genuinely thought it was Dex. By the way, one of the last shots was Dex showing up at Matt's apartment, and you see the glass broken in the shape of Matt's helmet. That was amazing. That was so good. I know I keep jumping around from point to point, but I'm just excited. But yeah, that shot of the glass that's being broken in the shape of the Daredevil helmet was genius. I absolutely love that so much. But anyway, because that was from when Frank took his first shot, which such an amazing reintroduction to the Punisher. That scene made me scream with joy. I love that. But anyway, back to the post-credit scene. It's Frank in the cage, which I was so upset when I saw that. Because I thought, no, why Frank is in a cage? Why? You caged the Punisher. But I love that Fisk is keeping these people prisoner. He starts talking to this guy named Anthony. And I was honestly just sitting there, basically how I was in Deadpool and Wolverine when there's this mysterious blue hooded figure. My mind just racing. Who could this person be? But no, it turns out it was nobody. It was no one. And Frank just freaking destroyed that guy. And thank goodness, Frank is out. Frank is free. And I just realized now that he is kept with everyone else, meaning that he will probably set everyone else free, because if he doesn't, then Frank, you're a bit of a dickhead, dude. But no, I think he will just set everyone free, which, that is really cool. Having Punisher, be heroic again, because of course, he's not a bad guy. It's like Sandman, I'm not a bad guy. I just had bad luck. So that was really cool. And you get to the end of the credits. And yes, I sat there watching the credits the entire time, where you get something that MCU fans have been waiting for so long. The best message you could possibly have. Daredevil will return in season 2. Yes! Seeing an MCU blank will return, and it being Daredevil's name. Oh man, that is just so freaking awesome, dude. I'm just gonna leave this here, because this is just so freaking cool. We know that season 2 is coming next year, but man, just seeing that is just so freaking awesome. That's so cool. I'd also just like to add that the version of the theme playing over the credits was phenomenal. That was absolutely amazing. I loved that. But yeah, I think that for now, I mean, I know that later on I will inevitably find something that I should have mentioned in the video. But anyway, as far as a fresh reaction goes, this episode was amazing. And what I loved about it is that it actually felt like the end of a season. There were certain things that were closed off. There were certain things that weren't closed off, that were left open for season 2. But it didn't feel like a stepping stone to season 2. It felt like it genuinely felt like a season of a TV show, the finale. Because Marvel is known for having the shittiest finales ever, which is probably why I appreciated the Penguin one even more, apart from the fact it was a flawless episode. It felt like a concluding chapter. Here, this genuinely feels like, I could see something like this in Daredevil, because it's not like every season of Daredevil was, its own thing, like it was closed off. So, oh man, I'm just really happy we had a complete season, even though it was messy at times because, of course, of the reshoots and the new episodes and stuff. Season 2 is going to be leagues better, because we're going to have Bullseye, we're going to have Frank, we're going to have Daredevil, we might have some Defenders, maybe, but on top of that, we're just going to have great writing. Overall, as far as a season 1 goes, I think that this is easily the best Disney Plus show Marvel has made by far. It's way better than season 1 of Loki. I'm sorry, because Loki was my original favorite, as far as the season 1 goes. But no. Daredevil Born Again easily takes that cake. Because my God, this was fan-freaking-tastic. Ladies and gentlemen, this is where I now throw it off to you. What did you think of Daredevil Born Again as a whole? And of course, what did you think of the episode 9? Well, the whole episode, really. What did you think of the full episode? Did you love it? Did you hate it? And most importantly, were you also tricked by the Luke Cage red herring? Because I know I sure was. I don't know why I'm treating you like your children. I know I sure was. But yeah, I'm just excited. Sorry. And yeah, please just let me know your thoughts on the show. Are you happy with the way it wrapped up? And what are you hoping for in season 2? Is there a specific character you'd like to see? And most importantly, do you think that they should revive Foggy Nelson? And to anyone who says yes, I'm deleting your comment. I'm joking. So yeah, please just let me know your thoughts on the episode and the season as a whole. And yeah, if you did enjoy this video, then please leave a like, subscribe, and goodbye.